Peace, everyone. Welcome back. I did a video a couple of months ago that was talking about, actually it was titled Childhood Sex Abuse, Let's Talk About It. Since posting that video, I have spoken to families or come in contact with families who recently learned that a child in their family has disclosed. And so I've come in contact with families or even observed some families who are dealing with that experience, and they don't really know what to do. So I am sharing some things that you can do. Another thing is that, in the field that I work in, I read about different cases, I read about different scenarios, different things that have happened. And, so it's a reminder. Basically, my spirit told me you need to speak more on this topic. And even just recalling like some of the families who are finding out this stuff more recently, I realized that sometimes parents don't know what to do. Sometimes people don't know what to do. No one ever really suspects that it's going to be their child or it's going to be someone in their family. That's not something that you don't really have the expectation of going through that experience. And so sometimes people are just stuck. A range of emotions can come about. So I'm gonna jump right on in and just talk about some things. Look, you just got this information. What happens next? So the first thing I'm gonna say is remain calm. Remain calm. Remain calm. Remaining calm is crucial to what happens next, to how certain things play out. You don't want to put your personal feelings into the mix. You don't want to taint an investigation. You want to remain calm and maybe get some pertinent information. Don't ask too many questions. Get pertinent information. When I say pertinent, it's pertinent so that pertinent information that will let you know, okay, what do I need to do next? Is this something I need to call the authorities on? Is this a misunderstanding? Like, what is it? Okay. Because it could be a situation where maybe, children were playing house and somebody said something that could sound like something but may not really be anything. So remain calm, ask a couple of follow-up questions, and proceed. Okay, move accordingly. The second thing I'm going to say is take it seriously. If a child actually comes to you and makes this disclosure, or if it comes out in whatever way, take it very seriously. A disclosure can come about in many ways. Sometimes it can come out by accident, like it can just be blurted out. It can, a child may prepare themselves to tell someone. It could be something that maybe they've been holding in for a while and they finally decide to release or to share the information. Sometimes children, they may have flashbacks, they may have dreams, they may have a trigger. There are some children or some people, and let me just correct myself. Let me go back a little bit, because sometimes disclosures come about as adults. So it's not just children that make disclosures. So whoever's making the disclosure, I'm talking about childhood sexual abuse, but the reality is that children grow up. A lot of these children grow up without this ever even coming out, or without them ever receiving any services or receiving any help, or just processing it. So I'm talking about childhood sexual abuse, but really the disclosure can come out at any given point in time. So remaining calm and taking it seriously. Take it seriously regardless of who the alleged perpetrator is. Regardless of. I get, oh, this person is such a great, person. I can't imagine them doing this. I can understand that idea. Oh, this person would, I just can't see them harming someone, or I just can't see them. Listen, I get these different ideas. I get it. But what I'm telling you is, for this child, to assist this child through this process, whether it's true or not, to assist this child through this process, take it seriously and take action, okay? So the first line of taking action would be to ensuring that the child is safe. So this is the third thing. So it's the first line of first defense, I guess, of taking action. But it's the third thing that I'm recommending, which is making sure that the child is safe. So whoever the allegation is about, keep them away from that person. Keep them away from that person. And I'm saying keep them away from that person because we already know that most people, that children are mostly, abused by people that they know. So whether it's a relative, a family friend, a neighbor, a coach, whoever it is, a parent, whoever, keep them away from that person until you can get down to the bottom of what's going on. So once you are ensuring that the child is safe, ensuring that the child is safe. The fourth thing I'm going to say, now it's a little bit of a toss-up, okay? The fourth thing I'm going to say is you need to contact the authorities. The authorities can be your local child protective service agency, or it can be your local police department. And the reason why it's a toss-up, because if you contact your local CPS agency, they're going to contact the police. If you contact the police, they're going to contact the local CPS agency. So, but one of them has to be involved. The reason why they need to be involved is because it's about protecting this child. It's about getting down to the truth. Please do not go and be the investigator in this. Leave it to them. Not everyone is trained in interviewing children. Not everyone is trained in fact finding. So as much as you may want to, as much as you may want to confront that person, I'm just, again, to maintain the integrity of the investigation, just go to the authorities and let them do their job. That they've been trained, that's what they're there for. Let them do that. And you more so be there as a comfort to that child, and as a protector of that child, really. So piggybacking off of going to the authorities, you want to get help. So depending on what type of disclosure it was, whether it was actual sexual contact, anything that's involving body fluids, anything involving any type of penetration, that child needs to be seen by a doctor, okay? Just to make sure, it's all a part of the investigation. It's all a part of the fact finding. The child needs to be seen by a doctor. If there was any type of penetration, any type of bodily fluids, any of that, a doctor. Now, again, if you are going to your CPS agency or your police department, most likely they're going to, instruct you or guide you to getting medical attention because they're going to want it for the investigation. Shoot, if you hear something that where it looks like there could be some physical evidence, you can go on down to, a doctor, your ER, and have CPS on the line or the police department on the line while you're on your way. However, but the bottom line is the child needs to be seen by a doctor. So after your child has been, throughout the course of the investigation, child's been seen by a doctor, you want to also you want to get help for your family, because regardless of who the alleged perpetrator is, this is, receiving news like that is something that can affect your whole family. It's especially, depending on who the allegation is about. Excuse me, a little congested here. Sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, I lost my side. Anyway, depending on who the allegation is about, it can affect you. It's going to affect your family one way or the other, regardless of who it's about. But depending on who the allegation is about, who the alleged perpetrator is, it's going to have different effects on your family. So if it's someone that lives in the house with you, for sure it's going to have a major effect on the family. If it's someone that you visit, see every now and again, it's still going to affect your family, but in a different way. So you want to make sure that you get help for your family. As the parent, as the caretaker, guess what? You need help too. And when I say help, it's not even so much about something's wrong with you, you need help. And I apologize if I'm coming off like that. It's more so about processing it. You are going to need help processing what happened. The allegations. The child is going to need assistance with processing their experience. If it's a sibling or a cousin or somebody who is in the household, they are going to need help processing what happened. Now, I'm not passing any judgment, okay? There are some families who decide to remain a family, to remain as a family, and they make the decision to get whatever help they're going to get so that it stops and to protect the child. I've even heard of situations where maybe dad or a boyfriend or, whoever the perpetrator was, maybe they did some time behind the incident, and then after their release, guess what? They back with their family. And then they still got to cope. They still have to, they still have to deal with the betrayal. They still have to deal with all that stuff. So I'm not judging any families who make the decision to remain as a family, but whether you do or you don't, services need to be in place to ensure the safety of that child, to ensure that that does not happen again. Sure, you might want to hurt the person. Sure, you might want to do that. I mean, people will receive this information and a range of emotions come up. So just, okay. So counseling is very important. It's important, just for the family, to help the family heal from the situation and really just process it. About 10 years ago, I did an investigation. It was a sex abuse investigation. And the family, they were from France. Now, in Europe, I'll say in France, they kind of view sex a little bit differently. Or in Europe, like in certain parts of the world, they view sex differently than it's viewed here or in other parts of the world. Some places are a lot more free when it comes down to sex, and other things. So anyway, this family, they were from France. The mom called in the referral because the child, her daughter, her 6-year-old daughter, I believe her daughter was about 6, her son was about 14. So her daughter reported that the brother did some things to her. She didn't say it like she wasn't afraid of her brother. She wasn't angry at her brother. She didn't like it. She wanted it to stop. She told her mom. So the mom called, the agency. I went out and I did the investigation. This mom, once she reported it, she got services in place for the family, counseling. Now her son, the 14-year-old, he has some social skills delays. He had some I'm sorry, he had Asperger's. Okay, I'm not even sure, I'm drawing a blank on how to even express that, but he had some issues with social skills. He had some delay in social skills, and to him, he didn't really realize that he was doing something wrong to his sister. He didn't really realize that he was hurting his sister. No excuse, okay, because most abusers don't necessarily think that they're hurting anyone. No excuse. In that situation, he had some delays. Anyway, mom, she separated them. They didn't share a room, but she made sure that their rooms were further apart. So she put him in a different sleeping area so that he didn't have as much access to her daughter. And, she tightened up her supervision. And she did confront her son. She did talk to her son, and he admitted it. And that's where open communication comes in with your family. So he admitted it. And I can understand her confronting him because that's her son, and he's a minor. He's not an adult son. He's a minor. So anyway, she confronted him. He admitted it, and she, like I said, she did what she had to do. She served as a protector of both of her children. She talked to her son. She let him know that that's wrong. You don't do that to your sister. Don't ever do that again. I don't know exactly what words she used, but she handled the situation. I feel like she handled the situation appropriately. Now, me being a representative for the agency at the time, we want to put services in place. We want to do this. We want to do that. But this mom, she already had everything covered. She already contacted a counselor. She already had these services put in place. Like, she already had things lined up. So kudos to that mom, because she took it seriously. She did everything that I recommended. She stayed calm. She took it seriously. She went to the authorities. I don't remember if she took her daughter to the doctor or not. I don't remember. But This woman, she did everything that she needed to do, and I felt like that was a good example of how to handle, you know, that type of situation. I don't remember what made her report it to us. I don't know if it was I don't really remember what made her report it to us, but she did. And I feel like she handled that situation very well. So this is not an easy situation for families to go through, to experience. But again, remaining calm and keeping your focus on protecting the child and helping this child, that is key. So I'm also going to, a couple of things I want to mention before I go. First line of defense is empowering your children to just letting them know that they have control over what happens to their body. They have control over what happens to their body. So don't force your children to hug people. Some people may not agree with this. Some people may think it's disrespectful. But look, whether it's a grandparent, auntie, uncle, cousin, whatever, don't force your child to hug people. Like, really, this is really also about paying attention to your child's body language. Paying attention to the cues that your child, that the nonverbal cues that your child is giving. Empower them so that they understand, they know and they understand that that is their body. And no one has the right to invade their personal space. And they don't have the right to invade anyone else's personal space. Empower them. Stop forcing them to kiss people they don't want to kiss, even if it's on the cheek. They can say, no thank you. Stop forcing them to hug people. I mean, and even when you talk to other people, and I've been guilty of this too. Like, I might be like, oh, give that person a hug. And then I have to check myself. No, like, if they don't want to give that person a hug or receive a hug from that person, they shouldn't be forced to. They don't have to be disrespectful about it, but they shouldn't have to be forced to. It is their body and no one has the right to invade that space. So I just want to drive home that point. Another thing, again, as always, open communication. Your children, you have to believe them. You have to believe them. Now, listen, everybody doesn't say things that's true. But if it's not true, it will come out. You have to put your child, even if it's just for that moment, okay? You have to put that child first, period. Your obligation is to the child. Now, I'm saying this, but I watched a movie recently where, now this was an adult daughter, and she was trying to come on with the mom's boyfriend. She didn't like the mom's husband, and she wanted them to break up. She was high, and she was coming on to the mom's boyfriend. And so mom, she put the child first, and she kind of went off on her husband, and the husband's like, hold up. Now, in a situation like that, guess what? Even though he was innocent, the child was lying. She was an adult. But mom did what she was supposed to do. Listen to her child. But guess what? The truth comes out. The truth comes out. And let me tell you, have this conversation with your significant other. Before, have that conversation early. Y'all have to agree that together y'all put the child's needs first. So I guess when you get married, your spouse is supposed to come first. Some people have a hard time with that. What I'm going to say is, okay, y'all can put each other first. But as a unit, together as a unit, put the child first. Listen to the child, believe them. Don't go blaming them. Like you see situations where, they blame children. They, they insinuate that the child wanted it in some type of way or that they brought it on. A lot of times so-called victims or victims, okay, they are blamed. They are blamed. They're persecuted for shit that happens to them. And that's not right. It's not right. So believe your children. Have that relationship to where they know that they can trust you. Please give them that reassurance that you have their back. And if they're not telling the truth, okay, or, if there's some error, whatever, that will come out. That will come out throughout the course of the investigation. That will come out in therapy. It will come out. The truth will come out. But you have to protect that child. Another thing I want to mention is that sometimes children will recant their stories. They'll take their stories back. And you'll even find with, people who have experienced rape and other types of sexual trauma. or abuse, or any type of abuse, really. They might say that something happened, and then they may take the story back. Just because they recant or take the story back, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Anything could have influenced it. It could be the pressure of the investigation. It could be, they are more concerned about the alleged abuser than they are about themselves. They might be, concerned about how it's affecting the family. There's a lot of things. They might be tired of talking about it. There's a lot of things. So just please take it seriously. So before I go, I want to just leave you with some resources. So the first resource I want to leave you with is the National, make sure I get it right, the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. That's the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. You can find them at nctsn.org. That is a great website. They talk about different types of trauma, because it's not just about sexual abuse. There's other types of abuse and other type of ways, and other traumas, okay? Other ways that a child can be traumatized. And they have resources on there for children as well as for adults. It's a really great website. They also have a bunch of different crisis hotlines for different situations. So again, that is the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. The other resource I'm going to mention is called RAINN. You can go to RAINN, RAINN.org. RAINN stands for Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. And again, so right, rape, abuse, incest, molestation, sex trafficking, human trafficking, that all of that type of stuff, they have resources available. They also have the National Sexual Assault Hotline. That number is 1-800-656-HOPE. Again, is 1-800-656-HOPE or 1-800-656-4673. So those are two resources that I just want to leave you with. Because sometimes people just don't know what to do. Sometimes people are scared. I'm talking about the adults too. And if you, regardless of who you are, if you're watching and you have had this experience, or you recently had a flashback, or you've recently had a trigger, something that reminds you of an experience that you have, these resources are available. They are available. And let me just point out, it doesn't matter how long ago it happened, okay? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether the person is deceased now. It doesn't matter. Still get you some help for yourself. And these two resources that I just mentioned, they're really good. They have different resources there that can help you through this process. So that's it, everyone. I pray that, I wish that no one had this experience. I wish that no one has this experience, period. The reality is that people have already had this experience, and if there's anything that I can do to help you navigate and help you get to where where you can get help, to where you can heal, then that's what I'll do. So until next time, peace, love, and light to everyone. Protect your children.